First off, I would like to introduce you to Tim Cole, who was my collaborator on this piece. Tim was responsible for the sound. So I'd like to take the opportunity of thanking Damien Smith here, who was, working very hard at constructing and setting this up over the last 2 weeks. So, is that a little better? Yeah. Okay. Well, first off, there's an awful lot of you here, but I'd just like to sort of say that I may hand over to Tim at any stage because I'm feeling a little kind of fragmented. I've been busily trying to blend the essence which is in there, and I'm not quite present at the moment, so please excuse me. So I think I'll actually change the format of this sort of artist talk. I know it's sort of expected to for me to chat away to you for a bit and then you to ask me questions, but what's more important to me is actually the process of making art, and I'd actually like to involve you in the process. So if I could, I'd like to actually engage any of you who have actually seen the work to invite your response and actually ask you questions, for you to ask me questions. They're constructed from moulded calico. I found a wonderful floor in an old building, and I actually moulded these using pigments and sand and resins and glue and whatever. It was a process I discovered a couple of years ago while I was doing a little residency in Africa, and I moulded a dry riverbed, so with the sand. And it was quite a magical moment when late in the afternoon I had this stretched canvas resting against a panel which had a crack in it, and as the sun went down, it was just a little glimmer of light glowing through this crack, and it was, something that you sort of remember and store there. And so consequently this evolved. I managed to use it later on, this backlighting effect with the moulded screens. You've probably noticed, any of you who've been in there, that they do have a sense of being quite solid when they're lit from the front. That's sort of almost rock-like or concrete-like. But when they're rear-lit and in the dim lighting, they start to sort of dissolve. And I think that's rather interesting. What I'm trying to say here is a lot about illusion, the illusion of reality. That if that sense of solidity can actually, we can actually melt it. What we're really observing is energy, and perhaps this physical world that we perceive is less rigid than we imagine. And if that's the case, perhaps we have more control over changing it in subtle ways, So I think this is a lot about what I'm on about, and that surface is very good at, is a very convenient way of actually getting that across, I'm not actually sure what my intention was so much at the time. I think what I'm trying to do is actually create a space that allows people to go on a journey. For me, the most important thing for me as an artist is the absolute moment of inspiration, and for me the process itself is more relevant. It's maintaining my connection to that moment and going on a journey, and all the people that become involved in that process along the way, like Tim and others involved in putting this work together. I see that as being important. I think my real ability is just maintaining a focus on a moment and writing that out, and in that way trying to keep the work alive. And I'd like and to allow the viewer themselves to actually participate in that moment and be part of it, because I don't see you as being in any way removed from the work itself. It's a journey. It's a collaboration between the viewer and myself as the facilitator, really. So I don't know whether I, even so want to call myself the artist. I have a few techniques and skills of, with visual sort of things, and Tim with sound. But it's just a blending together. I do actually use landscape a lot in my work. I get the feeling of instant. My last show of paintings was actually kind of satellite views of Earth, so, and even though this actual process wasn't so much a conscious thing, I was aware that the screens themselves appear very much like kind of satellite landscapes. And I've noticed throughout my time of doing these particular works, primarily I'm a painter, but I have had several opportunities to extend and into installation, which is kinds of adds another dimension to what it is I'm trying to capture with painting. I like to work with light a lot, and these environments actually, though, I think can engage a wider audience in that process. So, I think I wandered off the track a bit there. So
Too much of that scent.
I've had far too much of that scent. I mean, the scent's interesting in itself. I was actually looking for an aromatherapist to blend an essence for this piece, and I found a chemist instead who distills his own oils. And he said, "I can't blend them. Why don't you have a go at this?" So I did, and I brought along a very small sample of this to actually try it out, and people have responded so well to it. And this morning I'd actually run out, so I'm out there trying, literally about an hour ago, trying to blend this, and I'm really. They're extremely strong, and I'm really not quite here. So, please bear with me. But I mean, smell's a very important sort of aspect of this. We tend to rely on vision. A vision, for most people, is our primary sense, and we tend not to notice consciously so much, the sense of smell and sound, perhaps more. But a little trick that I have with these particular things. Tim and I have worked together on these works before. Is using smell, because I think it very powerfully accesses the subconscious mind, and it's very subtle. Actually very powerful, the effect it does have on you. But I guess it's all about frequency. It was kind of interesting just going through that process of making that, because after speaking with this guy, he was actually telling me how these essences have high notes and middle notes and bass notes, and it was somewhat like composing a piece of music. So, and actually, I think I'll take the opportunity to hand over to Tim right at this moment to actually talk to you a little bit about the music. So.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, just firstly, like to say, feeling a lot of gratitude. I'm really happy to be a part of this project with Karen and Damien too, has helped out, and all the other people, and the response we've been getting has really made us feel wonderful. So thank you, and to the gallery as well for their help. My background, I'm a sound engineer. I'm used to sitting in recording studios and do a lot of field location recordings. I've actually just come back from Bougainville, recording traditional bamboo band music there. And while I was there, I sourced all the background sounds that you hear, the insects, all the water sounds, to APT, Pacific. I could have recorded them in North Fitzroy, but I thought it's ties a little bit more into the theme of all seriousness, we are into a continuity and a genuineness to like all levels, even particularly with sound as well. But the flute music is a while back I was in a band called Not Drowning Waving. We did some recording in Papua New Guinea, and for the Australian tour to promote that, we met a musician named Pius Wassi. He came down, we toured Australia, and then back to PNG. That was pretty wild. And I saw Pius in a big rock and roll venue, stand in front of a microphone with a flute on his own, and the whole 1,000 people just quiet, at him playing. He was down in Melbourne curating a Pacific festival at the Footscray Community Arts Centre. Always wanted to get him in the studio, and Karen was inspired with all sorts of ideas for this project and for the music for here, and it was just all sort of knitted in as things do. For Pius to come down and recorded an hour, just improvised music at night in the studio, big windows looking out on the moon. We laid back in the control room, all the lights off, and just listened and drifted off. And then Karen listened through that and chose some sections. We edited it up. So that's it's significant original piece too, with the music. Also want to point out this is a launch as well for we thought wouldn't it be a good idea to put out a CD-ROM? Miss Casey here. So with 2 weeks to go, she says, yeah, that's a good idea, we should do that. So with Richard, who owns a studio where I work, we grabbed a digital camera and we set this all up first so Karen could explore the different light possibilities, and because it's hard to sort of have ideas and artistic ideas without a palette to work with, so we spent a week also setting this up in Melbourne. We got somebody in who filmed it. We produced a CD-ROM, the soundtrack, slightly different sequence, because this sequence we did here, but I included more from that original improvised session, and it's some really beautiful flute music here too. So this is our launch for Karen Casey's first CD-ROM.